Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I am Jeffrey Cooperstein. Harrison Graham will be back tomorrow, so we'll have the two-man coming back on Friday. But on today's show, wanted to talk about a little Bleacher Report trade rumor that dropped this morning. They said that the Mavericks should trade back for Dorian Finney-Smith. You know I love Dorian. That's my guy out of the University of Florida. Joey Peterson, who loves the Florida Gators, also loves Dorian Finney-Smith as well. But let me know before we break it down, do you want Dorian back in Dallas at all? Type Y for yes or type N for no. In the right circumstances, I'd absolutely be in on it, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And here was that Bleacher Report trade idea from Bleacher Report themselves. They have the Mavericks receiving Dorian Finney-Smith. The Nets get Maxi Kleber and a 2025 first-round pick, which would be top 10 protected. And that 2025 first would be the Mavericks' basically only tradable first-round pick until the 2030s. So it's a pretty valuable first-round pick. The Mavs obviously aren't going to finish with a top 10 worst record this year. We also thought that last year when they ended up doing that, but they definitely will not do that this year. So that pick would convey to the Brooklyn Nets. However, I don't really think this package moves Brooklyn all that much. Now, I would be in on a trade like this because I just don't think Maxi Kleber has much left in the tank. And if you're basically replacing him on the roster with Dorian Finney-Smith, who I believe does still have ball left, I think that would be a clear upgrade. But I'm not sure the Nets are willing to part with Dorian for a protected first. They've turned down multiple trade offers, including multiple first-round picks for Finney-Smith reportedly. So I'm not sure they'd be in on it, but I think I would. Here are his stats from last season, and he's definitely declined a little bit, especially from three-point range. He shot sub 35% from three, which is something he didn't do with the Mavericks over basically his last 4 seasons in Dallas, and he also shot just 42% from the field. He's still playing at a high level on the defensive end, which is where you really see his value, but if you compare that with his stats the last 4 years in Dallas and the year before he got traded to the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, in the 21-22 season when the Mavs made the conference finals and the wings were him and Reggie Bullock, Dorian was an absolute sniper from three, shooting 35.5%, career high 11 points per game as well. He really does bring the value from the three-point range. It's when he went to Brooklyn, frankly, that he started falling off a cliff. Even that year with the Mavericks before he got traded in the Kyrie Irving deal, he was shooting somewhere around 37%. But once he got to Brooklyn, I believe it was like right around 30, and he just didn't, the three-point shots didn't fall. I don't know if it was the lighting in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn or if he was just trying to get to his new surroundings and whatnot, but he hasn't been comfortable shooting that three-point ball since he moved to Brooklyn. And we do know this. The Mavs and Dorian absolutely love each other. Mark Cuban helped Dorian Finney-Smith's father get out of prison early. It was like a nonviolent crime, and Cuban was really helping Dorian with that and all the legal problems and whatnot. So Dorian feels a sense of gratitude towards the Mavericks, and I think vice versa, because Dorian was a fantastic servant to the Mavericks in his 5.5 years with the team. He was undrafted out of Florida, makes the team his rookie year, and turned himself into a really nice player in the league, kind of similar to what Najee Marshall did, where he was undrafted in 2020 by the Pels, started out on a two-way deal, and made himself a lot of money this offseason. But when you look at the current Mavericks roster right now, I'm not exactly sure where he fits in. You have P.J. Washington and Klay Thompson as your starting wings, so he definitely would not start. You also have Najee Marshall, who's going to be your wing off the bench, so to speak. So are you going to trade Kleber and a first-round pick for Finney-Smith to be your number 4 wing? While I do think it's a certain upgrade on Kleber, I just don't know that it's worth trading for him simply because I don't think he would play a bigger part in the rotation than Maxi Kleber would. Now, they are on similar contracts. Dorian is on slightly more money than Maxi, but not a whole lot. So it's a matter of whether you think trading the first-round pick and Maxi is worth a slight upgrade on someone who probably won't play much of a different role in the rotation than Maxi Kleber would. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Would you accept this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. It's Maxi and a 2025 first-round pick, top 10 protected. I'll tell you what, if the Mavericks make this pick, I will be seething this time next year because that means the Mavs had the biggest failure of a season probably in franchise history, and that includes the 1990s, given the expectations. But let me know what y'all think. Type A for accept or D for decline. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have daily Mavs content 100% free here on the channel. Myself and Harrison Graham are real Mavs fans trying to bring you the best Mavs content out there on YouTube with the latest news, rumors, analysis, game breakdowns, and whatnot. We got Summer League coming up. We'll be covering that as well. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Now just some other news and notes that may have gone by the wayside as we've gone throughout this week. I put a short up on the channel about this, but the Mavs did re-sign Brandon Williams on a two-way contract. Williams was with the Mavericks last season. There are his stats, not much to write home about, just 17 games played. He did go off in that season finale against the Thunder where he had 21 or 22 points. Look, he's a point guard who can handle the ball a little bit. He can give you offensive spurts. He had that little spurt in Portland a few years ago where he did average over 10 points a game in like 25, 30 games or something like that. So decent two-way guy. The Mavericks used one of their 3 two-way spots on Brandon Williams. I have no problem with this whatsoever. Just a quick reminder, on those two ways, you're eligible for 50 games, and you are not eligible for the playoffs as well. So the Mavericks did, with A.J. Lawson last year, who was on a two-way deal, they signed him to the active roster for the remainder of the season just so he could be eligible for the postseason. I could see them doing a similar kind of path with Brandon Williams if they have an open roster spot there in the middle of March or so after the NBA trade deadline. And then this is kind of big news. The NBA media rights deal, they agreed to terms on its new 11-year, $76 billion deal starting in the 25-26 season. That is billion with a B, by the way. That is not a typo. Just some details here on the media rights deal. It's pretty crazy. Games will be aired on ESPN/ABC, NBC, and Amazon. And speaking of NBC, once the NFL season ends, they're going to do a Sunday night game. So they'll have Sunday night NBA instead of Sunday night NFL. And I think that'll be really cool to have a little showcase there. The salary cap will rise at least 10% annually at the start of this deal, which means the NBA contracts are going to be huge. Luka's next contract, we already know what it is. It's 5 years and $346 million when he decides to sign that in the 2025 offseason. What will his next contract look like after that? I mean, could we be approaching the $506 million, the Shohei $700 million contract? It's definitely possible. And then a really important factor in getting this deal done is it clears the way for NBA expansion. We know that the NBA has been trying to and talking about expansion for a few years now, particularly in Las Vegas and one other city where it seems like LeBron James is going to be part of that ownership group for the Vegas team. So this definitely clears the way for that, knowing that they have a clear future on where their media rights stand. And also, we know TNT has kind of been on the outs of this, but they do have a 5-day window to match and retain rights. So the NBA on TNT, not completely dead, but it's definitely looking that way, although they do have this 5-day window to match once the NBA officially sends the term sheets over to TNT. And overall, I really do believe this is a great thing for the NBA. It's going to grow the game even more. It's going to be more accessible on streaming services. You're going to have more national games, it seems like, with NBC trying to get their nationally televised games on the Sunday nights, Amazon Prime as well. So there'll just be more basketball to watch, and I never think that's a bad idea at all. We saw what the Dallas Stars did, by the way. They're having their own exclusive streaming service for free that's going to launch this fall, and I kind of think that's sort of where we're headed with the NBA as well. I think the Mavs, especially on local TV, will probably get something done in a similar fashion, if not join that same network that the Stars did. So I do believe this is a great thing for the NBA, and it's only going to continue to grow the game and make it more of a global sport than it already is. And of course, for the latest Mavs updates, you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27. Shout out Sharon for talking Najee Marshall with me the other day. Always enjoy hearing from you guys. Always enjoy talking with real Mavs fans on Twitter. So you can hit me up there. Be sure to hit the thumbs up icon as well, and we'll see you soon. Harrison Graham will be back tomorrow here on Mavericks Today.